Hi, I'm Carmela Brown. This is my husband. He is in Liz's program at Wisconsin. He won a settlement when he got over $2 million, which he spent taking care of himself. He paid for his own care up until it ran out very recently. And now, if Care Wisconsin doesn't cover him, what will people like my husband and other people do? Thanks.
Thank you.
Our son lives at home with us. He has autism. And these cuts, how will these cuts affect his services, even though he's getting at home with us?
Do you receive services from Care Wisconsin or IRIS? Which one?
Care Wisconsin.
Care Wisconsin, and you're getting some home-based services? Until they tell you something's been cut, then everything's the same. So you just want to make sure that you keep on, having your meetings and making it clear what your outcomes are. And then if there are changes, then you follow the process that Ron Clay will just outline for you.
Thank you.
If I could, someone sent me an email just the other day about this forum because they couldn't attend, and they asked me to read it. I'm concerned about the cuts to services for people with disabilities. My sister's actually a charter member of the original shelter workshop in Portage, which is now Northwoods. She has been working since she was 18 years old. She turned 57 last February, and going to work is a big deal to my sister. She likes to go to work, unlike a lot of other people, including me. She likes to earn that paycheck and feel like she is a valuable member of society. She enjoys the friends she has made at her job. The socialization that goes on each day is very important. I do not want to see this wonderful program ended. I worry about the cuts that may affect transportation of these adults who need these services. I worry about the private adult home where my sister lives. This has been her home since our mother passed away in 2001. My sister's caregiver is a saint and a blessing. She loves my sister and takes wonderful care of her. With the cuts that have already happened, there are very few people who are trained to do respite work for these caregivers. The outrageous fees they are charging to do respite for these well-deserved caregivers is way out of line. The lack of backup help for the caregivers, this is a serious problem. Why would anyone want to be a caregiver if they can't ever get a day off? You know what I mean. I have no idea what I will do if the woman who has cared for my sister the last 10 plus years decides to quit and do something else. I hope Mr. Plato, the disability attorney, will be able to shed some light on several of these areas. Okay. That was just her comments to me. She couldn't come.
I think it goes back to something that Rob said a little bit earlier when he said that if you're a family member, it's really important for you to have an open dialogue with the provider who serves your individual, because that's how you're going to know whether something's going the wrong way. And if there are cuts that are not providing you with this, or the individual with the services that they need, then that's when you go into action and start looking at appeals and doing the things that are necessary to say, hey, I'm not in agreement with this. Go on record.
Well, I was going to agree like with everybody saying. These people with disabilities are like, they're in the home and they trust their caregivers. They feel like they're part of their family. And if they're taking on that situation, how are they going to go through the rest of their life if they're going to keep being bounced around from place to place?
She raises a very good point about people being bounced around if in fact one caregiver says, I can't do this anymore, and then you get this series of caregivers whose rates are constantly cut. Well, we should be looking at it the other way around. We should be looking at how much do we need to pay these providers to make sure that we keep them as stable as possible? How much does it take to make sure people's needs are being met? And that's not the way we're thinking currently, but that's the way advocacy needs to work. And, you know, groups like the A-Team and others, the ARCs, to make sure that in fact people in this, at the state level, both at the Department of Health Services, that would be Dennis Smith, Kitty Rhodes, people who are in charge need to hear from you on how you're feeling about these things. The legislators need to hear from you about how you're feeling about these things. And we want to focus some of that effort. So if you're able to join one of the A-Teams that's being formed, that would be great because they're going to help you with those things.